Okay, it's the end of the month. You know what that means. It's time for yet another edition of the Academy Awards prediction videos. We're down to almost the very end now. We've only got, what, 2 more left? Maybe 1 more left.
For these?
Yeah.
This is the next to last one.
Yes. We don't have one in January, obviously, because that's going to be when we're actually really talking about stuff, because we'll actually know what's really nominated.
Predicting the winners.
Exactly. And we're not adding animated yet. I think that's coming in December. We'll see what happens with that. I have a good feeling that we'll probably take New Year's and do some filming, so that's probably when you'll get that next video. That's what I'm guessing at this point. So, before we go into the big 8 categories of the Oscars, we're going to get a State of the Race update from AJ. So, AJ, what's going on lately in the race?
Well, since the last time we did this, a movie got, suddenly a lot of attention. I'm, of course, talking about Selma.
Yeah.
For a while, nobody was talking about Selma. And then suddenly it started having a bunch of press screenings that people were going insane for.
Mm.
And people, immediately jumped on, Civil Rights movie, Academy, they always go hand in hand. Okay, this is definitely happening. And it would be the first time. We've now had a woman win Best Director. Now we're trying to get a black female nomination for Best Director. And people are saying we could make history even more by having 2 women in Best Director this year. And then something else happened. While Selma has been continuing to gain this momentum, people are now talking about what's going on in Missouri.
Yeah.
Being a factor as far as the Academy picking the timely movie.
Mm.
While I do understand that voting is a lot closer now than it was back then, I can't help but notice, though, that the same people said the same thing when the Trayvon Martin thing happened.
Yeah.
That Fruitvale was going to take over.
I remember that.
And Fruitvale didn't get a damn thing.
No.
But, like I said, the voting is much closer now, so that's hard to say. But then again, I do think a lot of people are still losing their grasp on the fact that there is a big difference between press screenings and the Academy.
Well, yeah.
Because I know Selma just, screams for it, but when you were actually watching, as soon as that one press screening reaction came out about Selma, now everybody's got it in, the top 3.
Yeah, I'm seeing that everywhere now.
So, it's just a matter of whether or not you think that's where the Academy's going to go, or if you think everybody's jumping the gun.
Could go either way at this point.
Because we've still got, we haven't even had our first batch of Critics Awards yet. That is on December 1st when we get in New York, I think.
Yep.
And that always changes shit up. And then, once we're halfway through those, we get the big awards like SAG and stuff like that, and BAFTA. That always changes shit up. So, we've still got a long way to go before we're talking about instantly putting things in, the top 3 spots. So,
yeah, especially when it comes to picture.
Yeah. So, yes, that goes for everyone, including us. So
yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, what happens, and this is just what we're thinking now.
Yeah, I've also heard good things about American Sniper and Bradley Cooper and American Sniper, and I'm starting to hear whispers about Big Eyes now. So.
Yeah, Big Eyes got a more decent reaction. I'm a little worried about Unbroken because of its embargo.
Yeah, that's kind of a red flag.
Which isn't lifted again for another 3 to 5 days.
Yeah. I'll be in Florida by the time it's lifted.
And the screenings were 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's really suspicious.
Yeah.
But embargoes are for one of 2 things. That they're either trying to hide that something's not as great as they thought it was, or it could just be trying to build, momentum that way.
Anticipation.
It's really hard to say, but...
Yeah, it's true.
It's still a little suspicious. Because a movie like Unbroken, you'd think those reactions would be
They want those out, everyone hearing about it. It's oh, this is going to be the movie.
But once again, even if Unbroken is hated by critics, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
Because there are plenty of... in the sense of Selma and... what was I just talking about? Selma and
Unbroken.
In Selma's case, there are plenty of movies that get massive universal critical reception that just do okay or nothing at all.
Yeah.
And in Unbroken's case, if that's the case, there are movies that don't do very well critically but still do just fine. Anyway.
Yeah.
Even if just on the principle of what they are.
Then there's stuff like The Blind Side that does both.
Yeah. So, I think we know what the box office movie is that's in here.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. So, we're going to kick off the adapted screenplay lineup. So, AJ, what is your 5?
For adapted screenplay, I have Gone Girl, The Imitation Game, Still Alice, Unbroken, and Wild.
I don't think it's changed very much. I don't think it's changed at all from last month.
Mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same. I took out Inherent Vice for Still Alice. And, you know, people are talking about the Theory of Everything in here as well. You know, people are really, really on the Theory of Everything now, thinking it's going to do big. And because I've been hearing... That's another thing I forgot to mention. Before you go into... Do you want to do yours, or do you want to go into this?
I'm about the same with you, except it's funny that you mentioned that you took Inherent Vice out for Still Alice. Still Alice is not in mine because of Inherent Vice. It's the same as last month. It's Imitation Game, it's Gone Girl, it's Wild and Unbroken.
Another thing about the Theory of Everything. People seem to kind of be having the Theory of Everything and the Imitation Game together here.
Yeah.
Because people thought the Imitation Game was going to be absolutely massive and be, you know, like I guess a lot of people were predicting it to win picture just on principle.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And the Theory of Everything was the movie that was just kind of down here. We're talking picture, obviously, specifically.
Yeah.
But now I guess that the Imitation Game is out. Nobody's really having, like, an overwhelming reaction to it.
It's not good for it.
Like, they're not crazy about it, but they don't hate it either. It just kind of...
It's there. It exists.
So people are starting to kind of switch places.
So the teeter-totter's starting to flip a little bit.
I don't know why people are choosing the two of them to compare, but that's what happens.
It's a supposed battle for Best Actor in everybody's mind, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically he's going to jump out to Michael Keaton. That's another story altogether. And perhaps maybe someone else. We'll find out sooner rather than later. We're going to go with original screenplay now.
Okay. For original, I have Birdman, Foxcatcher, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Mr. Turner, and Whiplash. There are a lot of movies that could get in here.
Yeah.
And this is usually generally where a surprise is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess in my case, the surprise would be Mr. Turner, because nobody else is talking about Mr. Turner.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I mean, I'm about the same. Again, I swear to you, we don't sit next to each other and compare notes. I do these things like at 2 a.m. when I've listened to a bunch of podcasts, and I'm like, hey, I need to do a video tomorrow. I need to figure this out. So I do some research, and that's how I come up with my predictions. So I'm not stealing from you. I have no way of me stealing from you. But it seems like great minds think alike, because I have the exact same thing, except in the place of Mr. Turner, which you won't let go of, and I can understand that, is actually Interstellar. Which I don't know at this point. It's weird to say. There's a lot of things that possibly could go in this, and a lot of things that might go in this, but I don't know at this rate. It's original screenplay. Like you said, surprises happen every year. So, let's get into acting, shall we? Best Supporting Actress.
I don't think anything different. I have Patricia Arquette for Boyhood, Jessica Chastain for Most Violent Year, Carmen Ejogo for Selma, Keira Knightley for The Imitation Game, and Emma Stone for Birdman. I have somebody to talk about, but I'll wait for yours.
Well, you know, I said this originally, and I went back to it in this video. Since it's November, I still have another month to be like, okay, fine, I gotta square everything away before we get our actual Oscar nominations announced. So, I also have Patricia Arquette for Boyhood, and I also have Keira Knightley for The Imitation Game, and Laura Dern for Wild. I do have Emma Stone, and, you know, I finally jumped back on it. I'm on the Meryl Streep train again. It sounds like even just being Meryl Streep alone may be possible to get her in. Because I know she's got the Globe locked up, if I had to guess.
Yeah, the thing is, Me personally, I'm not even. I mean, I know everybody just jumps on, but she's Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
But well, for starters, we just had Hope Springs not go very far last year,
which I really didn't like. But that's
and secondly, as you can probably see, Streep is not even really on my radar because I have the 5 that I have,
and you don't want to take anybody out.
You can actually see I crossed out Laura Dern and put in Jessica Chastain because it's really, really difficult. I really, really think Laura Dern should be in there, especially if you like really, really follow this stuff. You've probably seen the Hollywood Reporter Actors Roundtable by now, where all the actresses there were just dropping at the feet of Laura Dern.
Yeah.
The industry absolutely loves her, and her entire family, as we saw last year. But I was thinking, just to kind of, I mean, if you want to, really, really pick this apart, which is the whole point of this, so
obviously,
why the fuck not?
How about it?
If I absolutely have to give a reason for taking out Laura Dern, it's kind of reminded me of somebody last year, even though they were in a different category.
Just to stab me in the back further.
When you watch that roundtable, all of the actresses adore Laura Dern and just, are constantly praising her. And she just has to sit there and take it. And everybody's assuming, well, the industry obviously loves her. Dead giveaway. Has to be.
Okay.
That's what was happening at the Roundtables and Press events with Emma Thompson last year. I know it's a different scenario, and I know it's a different person, I know it's a different category, but still,
I see where you're coming from.
There could be a lot of people here, and obviously somebody's going to get snubbed, because there's 7 real possibilities.
And there's always somebody that gets snubbed that probably shouldn't have, too.
And there could be a total surprise. We could have like a Maggie Joel on Crazy Art this year for all we know.
Yeah, it's possible. This, just looking at it, just look at my lineup. I don't know about yours off the top of my head, but Best Supporting Actor is going to be really fun this year, it seems like. So, what is your lineup?
I don't believe I changed mine from last time.
I don't think you did.
I have Robert Duvall for The Judge, Edward Norton for Birdman, Mark Ruffalo for Foxcatcher, J.K. Simmons for Whiplash, and Tom Wilkinson for Selma. Say yours, I'm good. Okay.
Really?
There's somebody that's supposed to be in this category that people are jamming down my fucking throat to put in, but I really don't think he's making it. But what are yours? You might have him in there.
Maybe. I do have Mark Ruffalo for Foxcatcher. I have J.K. Simmons for Whiplash. I have Edward Norton for Birdman. I still hang on to Josh Brolin from Inherent Vice, although I almost bumped him this time. And, I'm telling you right now, I think it could happen. Christoph Waltz for Big Eyes. I think it actually might happen this time around. But it's going to be weird that if, we had this conversation the other day, it's going to be weird to see him lose. I can't imagine Christoph Waltz actually losing
He
an
won't
Oscar.
even know how to react.
I don't know what to do. That's basically what it would be like.
People are beating me over the head constantly with the idea that Ethan Hawke is getting in for sure.
Yeah, I've heard that. He's been in my lineup until just recently.
I never put him in.
I know you didn't.
I think Boyhood will do really, really well critically.
And it has.
But when those industry awards start coming in, you can't really rely on that anymore.
That's true.
And I think Boyhood might be one of those movies that still does relatively well and is liked in the industry, but not as much as people are thinking with the other contenders.
A lot of people are saying it's a strong challenger for the win right now for picture. Yeah. And I don't buy it.
Because I was going over this with somebody else, and they and apparently a lot of other people are under the impression that Hawke is perfectly safe with a slot. And I just don't... I don't know.
I don't know.
No, let me say this again, though. I think that'd be cool. He'd definitely deserve it, I think.
All right.
I just don't think it's happening. That's all.
Yeah, and of course, my supporting actor lineup, I did also have to... I had to bump out some others as well, just to get Waltz in there, because I really wanted him in there. I ended up having to bump out Albert Brooks for this. But I don't know. I mean, we proved that maybe the Academy doesn't like Albert Brooks, so...
They did in 1987, but
yeah,
that was...
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Let's go to Best Actress. My lineup hasn't changed.
This feels pretty set in stone right now.
Okay.
With the exception of a sixth possibility people are really talking about.
All right.
I have Amy Adams for Big Eyes, Felicity Jones for The Theory of Everything, Julianne Moore for Still Alice, Rosamund Pike for Gone Girl, and Reese Witherspoon for Wild.
Make it real simple. I got the same exact lineup.
The only thing I can see... Here's the thing. A lot of people love to say that Amy Adams is always the filler.
I don't think she is this time.
Yeah, the sixth person obviously really rooting around this is Hilary Swank for The Homesman.
She was in my original lineups too.
And everybody is just automatically, their brain just automatically jumps to, well, Amy Adams is obviously the fifth slot in the filler. Is it just me? Or is there not a whole lot of buzz for Rosamund Pike lately? It was really, really enthusiastic when the movie came out, but...
Gone Girl's kind of fallen off a bit right now.
It's like people just kind of have her in there by default now.
Yeah.
So... Remember for the longest time before Still Alice even screened at TIFF, everybody was like, well, man, Witherspoon's going to have to really fight Pike to get that second win.
I remember when I was campaigning more for Maps of the Stars, so... Reading that original lineup I had. Alright, let's...
We both did that where we campaigned the right person for the wrong movie, because I was Oliver Chastain and leading.
Yeah.
So...
Let's go into Best Actor, which seems like it's going to be quite a race this year. Regardless of what anybody may tell you right now. It sounds like it's up for grabs.
Okay. Okay.
I know where you're going with this, so have some fun.
Before I say mine, we should probably talk about this. I was a little hostile last time when I talked about Eddie Redmayne.
Just a tad.
And here's the thing, there's actually a lot of things I need to bring up that I said in the last video regarding this category.
Get a snack, folks. We'll be here for a bit.
I do realize that Eddie Redmayne is a lot more of a possibility than I was letting on.
Yeah, of course.
In the last video. The second thing I need to bring up is that I've been on this kick that there weren't going to be 5 newcomers in there.
Mm.
And I believe last time was my hugely no guts, no glory pick of Joaquin Phoenix. As you can see, I totally abandoned Inherent Vice, so...
I didn't.
Yet. I have succumbed to the idea that, yeah, the president will probably break and we will probably have all 5 newcomers here. It seems like a certainty. Unless Bradley Cooper or somebody can really break out. Gyllenhaal, if he gets a miracle.
I wouldn't have an issue with it.
However, I'm going to say them and then I need you to hear me out, okay? Just hold still. Steve Carell for Foxcatcher, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Imitation Game, Michael Keaton for Birdman, Timothy Spall for Mr. Turner, and Channing Tatum for Foxcatcher. Here's the thing. This seems more reserved for picture, but I guess we should go ahead and talk about Foxcatcher. The conversation we had last night.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Do you want to go through yours first?
Yeah. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from mine. There is someone missing from this lineup that easily could get their way back in to my Best Actor lineup if I give up on someone that I probably should give up on. But I'm still hanging on. This is me out on a limb.
At least you dropped one of them.
Yeah, I did. My Best Actor lineup is also Steve Carell for Foxcatcher, and also Benedict Cumberbatch for The Imitation Game, and also Michael Keaton for Birdman. That's where the similarities die, folks. My 4th and 5th slots are actually still, I'm hanging on to it, Bill Murray for St. Vincent. And if you want to no guts, no glory, Miles Teller for Whiplash. I think it's out there, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. It's just seemingly out of the realm of possibility.
People are going to love the movie. It's just a matter of getting them to see it.
That's the problem. I wish it was wider than it is. I mean, it doesn't have not really a wide release yet.
No, I think it didn't do very well when it tried a wide release at the box office, so...
Which is a shame, because it's easily one of the best movies of the year, so I really wish more people would see it, and that way maybe someone like a Miles Teller would be able to get in, even though J.K. Simmons' performance has pretty much solidified the fact that he's not only getting in, but he's definitely a contender to win. So.
Okay, I want to talk about Foxcatcher for a second, since I have put both Carell and Tatum in, which probably seems pretty insane, and it probably is. But, listen, and I will say this before you get on your Eddie Redmayne kick. Yes, as confident as I've seemed about a snub for Eddie Redmayne being imminent, no, it would not surprise me at all if he got in.
No, not at all. Not one bit.
But, just, okay. Regarding Foxcatcher and Mr. Turner, because you're probably what the fucking both of them. Because I've been heavily supporting both of them.
We've had this conversation, so I know exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. First off, let me get this out of the way immediately. The problem was that people were talking about Foxcatcher and Mr. Turner, but then we got bombarded with Beatty stuff.
Yeah.
With The Theory of Everything and Selma and The Imitation Game and Unbroken. Just so much Beatty stuff.
Correct.
And the thing about it is that, okay, the reason that Foxcatcher and Mr. Turner kind of seem to fall off, not only because we're being bombarded with Beatty stuff, but because they both kind of got the same reaction, was that they'd be too cold for the Academy. They'd be too distant emotionally. When you can, go feel good about yourself watching The Theory of Everything or whatever. So,
all right. Way to look at it.
First off, the people saying that cold and distant pushes the Academy away seem to be forgetting that Amour got 4 major nominations 2 years ago.
Correct.
Haneke has a Best Director nomination for a movie like Amour. I don't think the Academy is that much into the everything must be jovial thing.
No, not at all.
Than they're thinking. And another thing I want to talk about is the fact that everybody seems to think that Foxcatcher is dead. The thing is that there's nothing to really indicate that it's dead.
No.
Because it's still coming up occasionally, and it is getting a consistently positive reaction. It's really just under the radar.
Very much
so. Far, whether it be, I know nobody gives a shit about the Hollywood Film Awards, but from that all the way to the Spirit Awards, Foxcatcher seems to consistently be getting special awards.
Yeah.
Like, everybody wants to reward it, but they're going for the more obvious thing instead. So there's clearly some kind of support for it there, and everybody is just really... All of the reactions to it have been extremely positive. It's just, people are so focused on all the Beatty stuff, and the problem with that is that the Academy is extremely underrated for how much it surprises.
Yeah.
And doesn't go for the obvious. There are at least 1 or 2 big surprises, at least, every year. But people never acknowledge that. They immediately see something that looks Beatty, like The Imitation Game, or Unbroken, or The Theory of Everything, or Selma, and they just immediately attach themselves to it and say that's what the Academy will go for. And I think Foxcatcher's just really easily gonna just kind of ride under this.
I can see
Yesterday
that.
I compared it to The Departed. Now I know The Departed is a totally different monster because that was the Scorsese's Do thing.
Hear him out.
But in Best Picture, everybody was talking about Little Miss Sunshine and Babel.
Yep.
And the other 2 movies, Letters from Iwo Jima and The Queen. And then the movie that didn't get nominated, Dreamgirls. All of that has some kind of thing that it falls into that the Academy would eat up.
Yeah.
Letters from Iwo Jima was pretty out there because it was entirely foreign, but it was a World War II movie by Clint Eastwood regardless.
Of course.
That. Little Miss Sunshine was the really, indie movie that everybody wanted to see succeed.
Oh, of course.
The Queen is the definition of fucking bait.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And, Babel just had, Babel was pretty out there for the Academy as well. But the thing about it is, I remember the newspaper articles, and everybody was saying, Scorsese's got director, picture is Little Miss Sunshine or Babel, since Dreamgirls is out of the running.
Mm-hmm.
And The Departed just slipped in there.
Yep.
Because if you look back at the history, the big awards, depending on how you want to define big awards, televised awards, we'll say.
That's a better way to put it.
If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, just be civil about it, the only Best Picture award of the televised awards that The Departed won before the Oscar for Best Picture was the Critics' Choice.
Yeah.
Everything else went to, Little Miss Sunshine or Babel or Dreamgirls. So, that can totally be possible. It is absolutely possible for there to be too much bait.
Oh yeah, easily.
Those 4 movies working together, when they just rewarded 12 Years a Slave last year, a lot of people are thinking, because that's the thing, if you read up and you see like comments that are actually like published that Academy members have said anonymously, which happens every year, there are a lot of Academy members that would be the type to say, well, we just rewarded 12 Years a Slave, we'll just give it a rest when Selma comes around.
It's possible.
So, yes. That kind of somewhat is what I'm getting at with the snub for Eddie Redmayne as well. So, because you've got David Oyelowo, who is also in the running, playing Martin Luther King.
Yep.
You have Eddie Redmayne doing his transformative performance. People are talking about Jack O'Connell.
Yeah, I'm hearing that.
Just because everybody's jumping on Unbroken in general. I don't know. That's what I'm getting at. Is maybe there's too much bait, and it's not exactly going in the direction people are just automatically going to jump to.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
It's anyone's guess at this point.
Yes.
Let's go to Best Director now.
That's also my defense for the next two things I'm about to say.
Yep.
Well, okay. I changed one. Best Director, I have Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu for Birdman, Mike Leigh for Mr. Turner, Bennett Miller for Foxcatcher, Christopher Nolan for Interstellar, and Morton Tildum for The Imitation Game. I was that close to replacing Nolan with Angelina Jolie, actually.
Ooh.
But I thought, we'll run with it.
Smart move.
Somebody accused me, when they saw my predictions like this, they accused me of thinking it was 2012. It was like, oh, Affleck and Bigelow were going for the win. Oh, fuck, both of them got snubbed. And we put the artsy ones in. Not totally artsy, but unexpected. Haneke and Xylem were definitely, like the last expected two people to get in those slots. So, anything is possible.
Well, in essence, I'm about going into that same manner as well, the way I've got mine. Because I've also got Bennett Miller, and I also have Christopher Nolan, and I also have Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, and I'm sticking with David Fincher, but I have proven in this video, I'm pretty sure, by going No Guts, No Glory with Miles Teller, that without a doubt, I've ran it for screenplay, I have to run it for director as well. I'm going with Damien Chazelle for Whiplash to be the very big surprise of the Oscar lineup for director.
He would deserve it.
Oh, totally, without a doubt. I hope that Whiplash is the Dallas Buyers Club this year, but I don't know if enough. Well, then again, it's probably about the same because probably enough people saw both movies like compared. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe Whiplash is Dallas Buyers Club this year, and that's gonna equal out to some.
Might not have the exact success, but still.
Well, it's got an acting. It'll have an acting win most likely. So. I mean, that's one major thing right there. Screenplay, picture, director. Even if it doesn't get in director, I still think it's getting into picture. So, but I'm going ahead of myself. So mine hasn't changed. As yours, your best picture lineup.
Yes.
Yes, because you think intelligently and I don't. So what do you got for yours?
I have Birdman, Boyhood, Foxcatcher, Gone Girl, The Imitation Game, Interstellar, Mr. Turner, Unbroken, and Whiplash. I took out Wild to put Whiplash in.
I never had Wild in my lineup for some reason.
I do need to say something else about Foxcatcher. I forgot to mention it. I paused because I knew I was forgetting something, and then we just moved on. I remember it now.
More Foxcatcher talk.
Yes, here's the thing about me saying both actors for Foxcatcher will get in, is it makes sense what happens when you do predictions is you have to make sure they all make sense in line with each other. So, like I've been saying, Foxcatcher is going to win a lot more than people think it is.
Yeah.
And that being the case, not only would it seem possible for both of its lead actors to get in, but the fact of the matter is that Carell has all the attention because he's the one that did the transformation. And he's doing the really, whoa, where did that come from performance. But when you read reviews, Channing Tatum has the best reviews out of all three of them.
He's got a lot of good stuff in the trailer, too. I know you haven't seen it, but a lot of good stuff in the trailer.
So that's where all that Foxcatcher stuff's coming from my perspective.
Well, mine hasn't changed. If you don't recall, my lineup for Best Picture is Foxcatcher. It's Boyhood, which I have a feeling is hanging on by a thread to the Best Picture lineup for me right now. Gone Girl, Interstellar, Birdman, The Imitation Game, Whiplash, Inherent Vice, and The Grand Budapest Hotel. A lot of wishful thinking in that lineup, not gonna lie about that. But I honestly do believe that Grand Budapest Hotel is being overlooked at this point. I really think that it's got a lot more to it than people think, and I do think that it's going to get a nomination for screenplay regardless. I think Wes Anderson's getting a nomination. If that's the biggest nomination it gets, that's fine with me, because it totally deserves it, because like I said, it's my favorite movie of the year, so. Mm-hmm. But that's what we got right now, so any more Foxcatcher news?
It is worth noting that we talked about, somebody said something that really registered with me about how for a while this looked like it was going to be a weak year,
mm-hmm.
and we actually thought that this was going to be like, maybe this will be a year where it actually falls short of 9 and there's even less
mm-hmm.
picture nominees. But I think a lot of these are getting enough buzz to where that's not going to be a problem.
It's actually a possibility at this point we may end up getting 10 again. I mean, it's been a while since we've had 10, so I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, or you can go with Prestige and you can actually drop it lower and go to like 7 or...
Just go back to 5, for God's sake. I'm begging you, Academy. Just go back to 5.
Go to 3 and make everybody fight for it.
This isn't 1927.
I know. None of us would be a figment of each other's imagination back then.
Oh.
So, yeah. Do you have any more information about Foxcatcher?
I think that's everything.
Whiplash is incredible. If you haven't got a chance to go see it, please do. And watch the Oscar movies, because they need the box office, because that's how they stay in... They stay in bigger cities and they don't go to smaller cities. So you can't really get these movies if you don't go see them.
Except for Boyhood, because it's going to be on DVD January 6th anyway.
Yeah, so yeah, check that out when you get a chance. So, that is the end of our Academy Awards prediction for another month. And our last one of 2014 is coming next month. We're going to do it around New Year's. So, going to have some content for you guys on New Year's. And as always, thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Leave your ideas, what you think is going to be running for the Oscars in the Big 8 categories in the comments below if you'd like to do that. Or you can follow me on Twitter at SurroandDisney. Send me an email if you'd like to, surroanddisney@gmail.com. So thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until next month, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that. That's all we got to say about that.